Okay.
Okay.
So we're going through this, and you wanted to know what
Shoot,
what verb it was.
Yeah, I printed out the wrong reading. No wonder I couldn't find it. It's the one.
In 18.
No, it's in the new one, I believe. Or maybe it is in the old one. Oh shoot, it is in the old one, and I just wrote it in the wrong place. Okay,
Is it
yes,
in this one?
it is in.
This is the one,
Mm,
the sentence that you were thinking about, right?
let's see. This is 18.
This is
This is
18.
17. Oh, okay. Yeah, I just apparently skipped 18. Yes. And what I don't understand is how to translate the have sex with and love part.
Oh, okay. All right. So this begins with this conjunction prin, all right?
Mm-hmm.
And prin in this particular case is going to appear with an infinitive. Okay? And this is somewhat like hosta, with the result that hosta, and hosta can be followed by an infinitive or a finite verb.
Okay. And in this case, it's an infinitive.
Yeah, and in the infinitive, it means it's a natural result, and it describes a sort of thing that is likely to happen.
Okay.
Okay. And with a finite verb, it's the actual result. Okay, so that X actually happened. Okay, not that it's likely to happen, it actually happened. And so this is another example of this kind of thing with prin. Okay, which can appear with a finite verb, but here it appears with an infinitive, because it indicates something that could happen,
Mhm.
right? But it's not actually
Happening right
happening or going to happen.
Okay.
Okay. Although, yeah, I guess it could in this world. All right. So
So how
So,
would you translate
before, okay, so translate prin as before.
Mhm.
Before, and we in as we translate it, we can't use really the infinitive here, so we're going to have to use the participle before having
sex.
intercourse. Okay, having intercourse, literally mixing together. That's what that verb means.
Mm-hmm.
Mixing together in love, getting it on
Mm-hmm.
in love.
Immediately.
And that's again, that's not a finite expression in our language either. Okay, okay, so it's similar in that sense.
Yeah, that was the only thing that I couldn't really remember.
Right. So let's go through this.
Okay.
Let's go through this selection, and then we'll work through this, and then we can start on the next one.
Okay.
Why don't you read it? Okay, Helena K.E.
Okay. Enkisen de eros Elen
Helen.
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 Helen epos de autain antion euda
Mm-hmm.
amen nete gune dese genito
Mm-hmm.
mater otres de esta pater onomaklutos onomaklutos. How do you do those accents?
Onomaklutos.
Onomaklutos hos agorues athanatu de, is that a heketa
Heketa.
diotoru En það Ikanes Ermu Hermu Eme de Alakos Keglese. Is that rough or soft?
Soft.
Amata Panta Utis Epeta Theon Uta Neton
Sneton.
Anthropon Enfada Mes Gese Prin and Philonteta
Philoteta.
Sumexii
Sumexi.
Altica Noon Buddha
Udeon.
Agabolos Altus Apollon Toxin Argureu Proe
So here we've got these two dots over it, which means that pro-e.
How often does that happen?
Not very often.
Okay. Belle Stonoenta.
Stonoenta.
The whole thing, or just what we went
Keep
against?
going.
Okay.
Keep going.
Buloimain
Buloimain.
on Egata Gune. Ekuia.
This should be over here. I'm sorry. Equia.
Equia.
The eyes.
Skays.
Says.
Sorry. Unes. Eplas. Dune. Domon. Eidos. Eso.
Aidos.
Aidos. Eso. Hos. Epon. Lava. Kera. Philomedes.
Philomedes.
De Aphrodite. Herbe. Metistre. Oh goodness. Okay. Metistre. Kat ornamenta. Kala. Balusa. Es Lacos. Eustroton. I don't know why I could never get that. Okay, Eustroton.
Think of Europe. Eustraton.
Eustroton, Paul, Paros, Anacta,
Anacta.
Clinice, Malachis,
Malachis.
Estratai, Altar, Alexander,
Altar.
Hutethan, Arcton, Dermat, Agata, Agata.
Good.
These long words.
Yeah. These are fun words, though. These are awesome words.
Baruthogon, to Leonton, who's out to Altos, Apectena in Apectena in Oresa,
Upselois.
Hoi de Ebe Lecon Upoeton Epibason,
Ebeson.
Ebeson, Kosmon, Men, Aphrodites,
Mhm.
Proton, Apokrotos, Ela,
Hela.
Phaenon,
Phaenon.
Porpos, to Epignomtos,
Mhm.
Epignomtos,
Mhm.
Elicerus,
Mhm.
Takai, Hormuz, Azusa, de
Zonin. Mhm.
Zone. When does it have the extra curly part?
Oh, right, this part right here?
Sometimes it does and sometimes it doesn't.
Right,
Yes.
Okay, so the extra curly part is a xi, okay?
Okay.
This one curly part is a zeta.
Oh.
Okay.
Okay. I don't know why I always get this confused. So say zoning,
Zonin.
altes kai hemata sigalunta, sigalunta, ekdue,
Ekdua.
ekdua kai katatnekan,
Kat ethic.
kat ethikan, epa ronu, oh wait, hold on.
Arguroleos.
Argurole, and Kises, Cloda, Epita, Theon, Rule, Kai, More. Would you say Mora?
Moirai.
Morai, Athanatai,
Athanate.
Athanate, Paralexito, Paralexito, Sei,
Brotos.
Safa, Eidos.
Eidos. Very good. Good practice. Excellent. Okay, all right, let's work through this.
Well, okay, love seized and Kai seized,
Very good.
and he responded or said a word to her.
That's good. Responded. Okay, so in
What is
return,
and
antium.
that's in turn.
Well,
Or
it
what?
means literally there. So it has a sort of in return. So it's related to the preverb ante, okay, which means either instead of or over against, okay.
Mhm.
So an antigonist and a protagonist as opposed to antagonist, right? An antagon, okay, someone who is fighting over against,
Okay.
sort of facing. So in this one, facing, and we saw this Antion in the
About
story about Sarah, and
Okay.
Abraham says, Antion, here she is, okay, in front of you, over next, beside you.
Okay. If on the one hand you are mortal, and
Okay, we've got and, okay, if you are mortal, and
the mother, the woman and mother who gave birth to you understood
gave birth to you, yeah.
mortal, Atreus,
And
Atreus is the father,
Uh-huh.
known by name, so you say,
as you say,
as
very
you
good.
say,
And
and
you have Hikanes.
come here,
And very good. And Nara, come here, very good.
like by way,
by the will of.
by the will of
Okay. Mhm.
Hermes, immortal Hermes,
Mhm.
the messenger.
Mhm.
Um, and,
If all of these things,
and,
then and you are
you are
ecclesia,
called
and you are called, and you have been called.
the wife
Uh-huh.
to me,
My wife.
my wife, all days.
For all days.
Always.
If all of that is true, then
No one
Mhm.
of the gods
Nor of
nor of the mortal people
mortal humans, right?
Can
And this is future will.
like restrain. What's the
Yeah,
word?
restrain me.
Restrain me here.
Okay, this is from Echo. Hold.
Hold, right.
Echo.
Like, yeah.
Exo is the form of the future that we will normally see,
Okay.
but the aorist is escon. Okay, escon. And you can see the ske here.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so this is just another form, and this is true of, the Greek forms that they often had these, some verbs had both a first aorist system and a second aorist system. And here we've got a different form of the future, okay, built on the stem of the second aorist, okay?
Okay.
Will hold me here, restrain me here.
Before before having sex and love, immediately now.
Right now. Not even if Aeon, not even if Apollon
himself,
Apollon himself, the Hekepolos,
far shooter,
should
send like arrows.
arrows,
Arrows.
literally things that are shot.
From,
From a Toksu Arureu,
bow of silver.
silver bow, very good. And these arrows are stonoenta.
Hurtful.
Yes. Very good.
Okay.
This is good.
Keep going.
Yeah.
Um,
Now this is all part of a conditional sentence. Okay, conditional sentences have what's called a protasis. Protasis, which is literally pro, and then from the verb tasso, which means to set or align. Okay, so the thing that is set in the front, protasis, and then the second part is called the apothesis. Okay, this is from, I think it could be something, and this is from didoma, right? Didoma, which means I give, and so this is the thing given out of that. Okay, so the first half of the conditional sentence, if, and then the second half of the conditional sentence is the apothesis, that which comes out of it.
Okay.
All right, so the first part here, if you are, okay, then this future part, okay, then no one will hold me back, okay? And then here we're going into, so this is there are different kinds of conditional sentences. The one with a future, okay, if X happens, then Y will happen. Okay, this is what's called the most vivid, and it takes a future in the apothesis. Okay. Now we're going to go into you can see here we go into slightly different levels of likelihood. The next kind is using the subjunctive.
Okay.
Then, okay, not even if something might happen, not even if Apollo, and we use the subjunctive in our language too, although it's rare. Even if Apollo send, okay, arrows, shoot arrows, okay? And then look, we've got even further bouloimein, which is the optative in on,
Mm-hmm.
okay? So this is yet another sort of form of the conditional. So we get actually 3 levels of this. So I would, okay, bouloimein, and here's where we see the modification of the thematic vowel to express these moods, okay?
So is that like boule, like
From
desire?
boulomai, huh? Yeah,
Okay.
but this is the optative.
Okay.
I would wish.
I would wish.
Uh-huh.
Goodness. Okay.
I would wish. I would want. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Epeta, then, and this is evocative. Okay. So this is gune, which we've seen up there. Gune,
Mm-hmm.
gune, and the genitive is ace kunaikos. Okay. And this is the evocative, woman.
Mm-hmm.
So, and he's addressing her, woman, you who are a quia theis.
Ooh. It's aquia. That's not on our. Yeah, but I'm trying to think of where we've had that
Uh-huh.
before.
Let's look. Okay, so here it is right here.
Oh, okay. So like suitable,
Uh-huh.
seemingly.
Seemingly, and it can take, and there's a dative case, it can mean like someone, okay?
So like the goddesses.
Yes, exactly. So here you can see this. We've got that word right there, ek, but look up here, we've got ekadzes, which is a verbal form based on that. Why do you compare me to the immortal goddesses?
Mm-hmm. Okay.
And so
Yeah, that
here,
makes sense.
yep, so here it is, equia theis, equal to or like the gods. So woman, you who are like the gods, goddesses, I would, having, okay, so note this is the aorist from epibino. Epibino, okay, bino, epibasomai, future,
Okay.
epibasomai, and the aorist, ebe. And the aorist, and so we take all of this off, and the aorist participle is bas, okay?
Mm-hmm.
Bas, basa, ban, bas, bantos, and so on. So this is the aorist, having climbed up,
Okay.
having climbed upon seis unes.
Mm. Seis is modifying
Mhm.
Eunice.
Right.
Is it like
Your
something?
your something. What would it be?
A good something?
Yeah, well, that's very good, very good. I like that. I like that. It's the word for bed, a eune.
What
Having-
makes that different from other words for bed or couch? Like, is that one specifically used in certain instances?
It's a good question. I don't know if it's, that's a very good That's a good question, if there's any sort of special meaning to that. But we've seen the word related to kline in
Mhm.
this. We're going to see in the next one in particular. We've seen lekos. Here's another word, lekos, for bed,
Mhm.
right? Okay, these are all these are all related to the words associated with sleeping, okay?
Okay.
So yes, having climbed upon your bed, I would desire, I would willingly, dunai domon aidos eso. And this is the same verb that we're going to see down here in ekdua.
I would take off.
Okay, this is take off, but this is
Go into.
go into.
Yeah, okay,
I would
sorry.
go into. I would clothe myself with, okay? I would go into, and we're going to see this is the same kata duo,
Mhm.
is kata duo is a word that you will see associated with the setting of the sun. Okay, kata duo, to go down.
Okay.
So I would even, having climbed upon your bed, I would go in eso domon aidos.
Yeah.
Into the domos. So this is where your Latin. A domus is a what?
Like a
Domain. It's the Latin word for house.
Oh, yeah.
So here you can see in Homeric Greek, they will sometimes use the cognate that appears in Latin. Into the house of Aidos.
Who?
Hades. Okay. I would die. Okay. Having climbed upon your bed, I would die.
And Acer is
This is into.
22. Okay.
Ace, this is the. So we've seen, for example, participles, prepositions, kata, right?
Mhm.
And the adverbial form of that, katos. We've seen the preposition ana, which means up, and the adverbial form of that is anos, okay? With omega sigma, we've seen all of those, right?
Mhm.
Okay. So here's the preposition es or s, okay? And here's the eso is the adverbial form,
Okay.
okay? So what about this? Ek would be what?
Echoes?
Exos.
Exos.
Okay.
Yes, because when you combine a
Yeah, as an exoskeleton.
yeah,
Okay,
that makes sense.
okay, it's just exo. All right, there you go. Okay, so I would go into the house of Hades. Okay, all right, so let's continue on. Now this lava is, we would see this, elaba,
Mhm.
okay? It has, as often the case in the Homeric poetry, we don't have that temporal augment. So
Through
having,
having
as he a bone, we just saw this expression. Okay, os e pusa. This is, in this case, a thea,
Mhm. Having spoken.
having spoken. And so the difference here is that it's a man,
Masculine?
right? Masculine.
Okay.
So Hosepon, having spoken, he elaba.
He through
Well, he not elaba or ebala, but elaba.
he left.
He from Lambano. Lambano. He took.
Okay.
He took.
Was that the one that like talked about the sheep and the goats.
Kera, yeah, probably. We've seen lambano before.
Okay.
Having spoken the elaba kera.
That camera before too. Was that when it was talking about her clothing? Or is that a different?
No, that's going to be cross, the
Okay.
skin. Okay, kera. We learned this with the parts of the body. Care. Care eke.
Wrist?
Well,
hand?
hand.
Okay, took her hand
Took her hand.
and did something with it.
And Aphrodite. Philomedes, we've seen that, right?
Is that her epithet?
Uh-huh.
Laughter loving.
Laughter-loving Aphrodite. She herpa.
She responded or she like?
This is a new word that we're going to get. This is a new word. Herpa. She moved slowly.
Okay,
You know what a herpetologist is?
I don't.
Herpetologist. Okay. So we've often seen that when we have a rough breathing, okay, like echo, exo, right? That's something we've lost something there, right? And what might we have lost there? What consonant is frequently the one that we lose? For example, in the relative pronouns, for example, we lose the don, we lose the tau as on, okay? We saw in the example of the hepomai. I think you were here when we talked about hepomai, right? Hepomai related to the Latin word sequor. Were you here?
I don't know if I was
Okay.
thinking that.
Okay, so hepomai is this verb which means I follow, right? I
Okay.
follow, okay? And what we frequently lose, so for example, the Greek word for 6 is hex, right? Hex, what is it in Latin?
You lose the sigma.
Yeah, and in Latin it's sex, right? Okay, so what we've lost here that is represented in this rough breathing is a sigma.
Okay.
Okay, and then we talked about the P is the interrogative morpheme, right? So what is it in Latin?
So QU?
QU, okay, so if we were, okay. And the omai, the passive ending in Latin is sequor. So hepomai is the Greek version of the verb we see in Latin as sequor.
More.
That great?
Yeah.
Okay. So now we've got herpo. Okay, is our verb herpo.
Okay.
Okay, so let's imagine that we're recreating this in Latin. So this would be
SERQU.
oh no, we're not going to do that. Not going to do that.
I'm not gonna do that. Okay.
But this should start looking familiar.
And what did you say the meaning of this word is in Greek?
Well, think of English words that begin with SERP.
Like serpent?
Serpent. Okay. What does a serpent do?
Moves.
It crawls,
Yeah.
right? Okay.
It slithers.
It slithers, right? So herpetologist is a person who studies reptiles.
Oh. Okay.
So she moved slowly.
Mm-hmm.
She moves slowly.
This is language.
Yeah, so meta, okay, so it means changing, okay?
Mm,
And strathesa, having turned, okay, from strepho, having turned to the side, having changed her position,
mhm,
okay, having turned, and having balusa, this is a temesis,
mhm.
having literally thrown down, katabalusa, her omatakala. This is the same thing as her same thing as her ophthalmos, kalus. Okay. Having cast down her what? Her ophthalmos.
Her eyes.
Yeah, as an ophthalmologist, right?
Mhm.
Okay. Having cast down her eyes. Why? Because she's shy, because
she's inexperienced with love.
that's exactly right.
Yeah.
She's just shy. She's cast down her eyes.
Oh.
Okay.
Poor little sweet innocent Aphrodite.
Yeah, exactly. Okay. And she walks slowly, ace into the lecus eustroton.
From the bed
To the bed.
to the bed. Yes.
This means well covered. Well
Mhm.
covered. Okay. This is the result. Estrotai, okay, estrotai is the verb. Eustroton is the result of the bed, okay, of the throwing. And there are some pretty awesome things on the bed, which we'll talk about tomorrow. Some dermata. Dermata, you're a dermatologist.
Why is her skin in the bed?
Skin
Oh,
of
skins of animals.
skins of animals,
Oh,
right?
okay.
Skins of arcton and leonton.
Those are some kind of animals.
Yeah.
Figure out which ones.
Yeah. Well, you know what a leon is, right?
A lion.
Yeah.